You found this video because things are feeling a little funky down there, huh? If things are smelling off down there on your period, do not worry. I'm about to share the best menstrual hygiene hacks, tips, tricks, the ones that I feel like are so basic that no one is talking about them. In general, if you want to stay feeling fresh down there, smelling good, smelling clean, specifically on your period, keep watching. If you're here because you're noticing an unusual smell in general, check out one of my other videos that talks about how we smell down there. Might give you a little more insight onto maybe what's going on. I'm making this video in honor of Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is May 28th. I hope I get this video out in time. I don't know if you know this, but for my underwear brand, Cherry, I actually donate hygiene products and underwear to shelters with each purchase. So for Tuesday the 27th through 29th, I will be doing double donations. So with each purchase, I'm donating not one product, but 2 products to shelters that need them, because every person deserves coochie care. And period poverty is a real thing. And that's what Menstrual Hygiene Day is about. Underwear and period products are the #1 things requested in women's shelters. And that's why I have a 1-for-1 donation model through my business. My brand's underwear is all about vulva positivity, coochie comfort, and everyone deserves to feel that way. Okay, now that I did my little social compassion moment, let's get into the tricks. They're not even tricks or hacks. This is kind of just basic knowledge that either people never learned or we forget. So this is me reminding you and teaching you if you don't know. And it's okay if you don't know. That's why I'm teaching you. If you're wondering, why do I smell on my period? How do I stop the odor from my period? I'll just give you a little more background onto why that's happening, because I don't want you to fret or feel like having a specific menstrual scent is bad. So basically, if you notice you're like, oh, things are smelling different, why do they smell different? Like you have to know it's because of your period, but like why? Well, one, you have these hormonal changes during your menstrual cycle that can influence how you smell down there. 2, your vaginal pH actually rises during your period because blood is more alkaline. And as you know, if you've ever looked at the crotch of an old pair of underwear, you may have noticed it's like bleach. It's because our coochies are acidic. So the blood is making it less acidic basically. And this temporary shift in our pH can cause stronger or different odors than what we're used to. It can also lead to any like mild irritation and also increases your risk of BV and yeast infections. I have a whole nother video on BV as well. You should watch it. But I will say this, if you're a girly who really gets a lot of yeast infections or BV, especially around your period, I have been there, and it's so frustrating because you think you're getting better and then your period comes and it just ruins it. I eventually got out of the cycle through a series of proper care and treatments that I can share in another video if you want. But today I'm specifically going to talk about like a hygiene routine you can have on your period, the best products to use, none of them sponsored, so let's go. I personally am not icked out by my period at all. It does not bother me. I do not think it's gross. However, I know a lot of people do not like the sight of blood. They feel really unclean. It doesn't make you unclean or dirty to have your period, but I know that just the general sensation of having more liquid down there than usual can be off-putting to some. So the best way to wash down there on your period, and honestly, the best way to clean your vulva safely in general, is using warm water and a mild coochie-friendly soap. I think I literally mentioned the Sweet Spot Labs body wash in all of my videos, but that's because it's my favorite, and genuinely, it's one of the only products that doesn't irritate my downstairs. And it's one of the only products that literally has no fragrance, which I know you're not going to want to hear this, is really important for smelling clean down there. I know you want to load up on the vanilla and the blah 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 and the coconut, but I'm telling you, girl, like the overuse of fragrance and scents is actually going to make your body smell worse over time. It's just becomes like you're just masking the problem. This, you can actually really clean yourself. I noticed using this over time everywhere, all over my body, especially my armpits. After a few months of using this, I felt like I had less body odor in general because I wasn't just masking my scent with another scent. So how to clean. A lot of people don't know actually how to clean down there, especially when you're on your period, and if you're wearing pads or period panties or anything like that, the blood can just like get everywhere. So in the shower, you're gonna use soap and warm water only on the outside. Okay, you're not gonna go inside the hole. You can still clean your flaps as long as it's something that's not going to irritate it. Because if you're using something that irritates your flaps. The soap can trickle down and get inside you. It can also just irritate the flaps in general because it's a very sensitive area. I have no problems with this, but of course everyone's body is different. I take a little bit on my hand, lather it up, get it nice and soapy. Okay, imagine, oh my God, how do I explain this? Okay, so imagine these are my two outer lips, okay? And my inner lips are in here. So I'm washing the outside, and then I also go in between the outer lips and the inner lips. You gotta get the clit cheese, okay? Girl, you gotta be cleaning the clit gently, okay? Usually just with warm water. Clean the flaps, clean the outside. Sometimes it feels like I'm almost just giving myself a diddle in the shower, okay? Rinse it off, warm water. Now, if you're super sensitive, don't use soap in between your flaps. Water is enough. Never, ever, ever clean on the inside. I know you want to, especially on your period. You want to get all this stuff out, but don't do it, girl. Don't do it. It is going to cause issues and make any odor worse. You want to avoid scrubbing or overwashing the area. You don't need to be using a washcloth. You don't need to be using a loofah. Your hands should be fine because that area is gentle. I know you think it can handle a lot because maybe it's handled a lot. I've handled two at once a lot, but she's actually quite delicate, so you don't want to push her to her limits, okay? So showering during your period for hygiene is just be gentle with the area, wash it, but don't scrub it too hard, essentially. The thing that may be causing a different smell than usual on your period is, in general, as I said, the blood. That is because when the blood is exposed to oxygen, it releases that smell. And mixed in with any other like sweat and other things like that, it just may smell different. So you need to be changing your menstrual products frequently. And I know it's hard, especially if you're a busy girl, to be going to the bathroom every few hours and switching it up. If you're wondering how often should I change my pad, how often should I change my tampon, you do need to be changing your tampons every 4 hours, changing your pads every 4 hours, menstrual cups every 8 hours, because letting that blood sit for too long is going to cause that odor and even potential irritation. One of the things I did to stop the cycle of BV and yeast infections during my period is actually I stopped using tampons. I stopped using any products that I had to put up there, because when that blood is just sitting in there for too long and you're not letting it flow out, that causes all sorts of stuff. Think about it. Think about how our menstrual cycle works, right? It's supposed to come out. So once I started just letting it come out, I noticed a difference in odor. I stopped the cycles of the BV and the yeast, and my cramps were way less once I stopped using tampons. So if you're a girly who struggles with cramps, try not using tampons for a bit and you may notice a slight difference. I definitely did. Now, if you can't get behind no tampons, do your thing. You can always try a menstrual cup. This does require a bit of a learning curve and you do have to be comfortable getting up there. I'm not a menstrual cup user. I know people who use them are like, oh my God, they're the best. As I said, I in general just stopped using any products that have to go up there because that's what really helped me get rid of that BV yeast cycle around my menstrual cycle. But if you have no problems with that and you want to start using a menstrual cup, they are great for reducing the odor, and that is because tampons and pads expose the blood to air, which, as I said, leads to odor. Menstrual cup traps all of that blood inside, reducing its exposure to oxygen and ultimately reducing odor in general. So in general, I know using a menstrual cup will smell better than using pads, but as long as you're just changing your pads out regularly, and not just every 4 hours, but I change them out every time I feel like a warm gush. So I try and get on that before I'm letting the blood sit there for too long, and like I said, letting the uterine lining chunks sit there. Also, one of the best hygiene practices for your period is washing your hands before you touch the area. If you're transferring any bacteria to there, that contributes to uncleanliness, okay? Anyways, if you're not on the pad or period panty train, that's okay. If you're curious to try it, these are my favorite period panties. I like the Proof seamless thongs because they're seamless. So if you're a brave soldier and going to the gym on your period, which one, good for you. 2, you don't want panty lines. I like these ones because they're seamless. I do feel like in general they stay in place. However, of course, if you know me, I got that extra large large coochie. In general, thongs from any other brand other than my brand Cherry can be hard for me and uncomfortable. If a flap flies out of this while I'm bleeding, I will bleed everywhere. However, I think that these are one of the better ones I've used for a period thong that will cover me generally more so than others and also have really good absorbency. Now, a lot of people claim that period panties have a smell and that they will smell. And that's only if, one, you are not washing them well enough, leaving them on for too long, and letting your uterine lining sit in there. If you have a heavy period and you have lots of uterine lining shedding, you know, the little chunks that come out, when you go to the bathroom, wipe it off. Every few hours, just kind of clean off the panty with, you know, some toilet paper so those chunks aren't sitting in there. The rest of it is going to get absorbed into your panty, and you should be switching these out every few months. So period panties can be an investment in that way. I think most of them usually charge like $20 to $30 per underwear, and I get new ones like every 4 to 6 months. The other brand I really like other than Proof is Dear Kate, because these ones are my sexy time period panties because they like the little lace. These ones are really comfy as well. They're super, super low rise, so keep that in mind. Of course, there are brief options, I think, for both of these brands if you're not a thong girly. If I'm wearing a brief, I'm just usually going to just wear a pad. Like if I'm wearing a thong on my period, it's specifically because I'm either wearing an outfit that needs a thong or I'm like on a lighter day of my cycle. One thing about me is I'm a bleed. I am a girl that has a heavy cycle. I've always had really bad periods. So if you bleed a lot and you're wondering if period panties will work for you, try it out on a day you have to stay home, and you should probably do a brief first before you try a thong. As I said, you do need to be not only changing out your period panties every few months, but as you're wearing them during your cycle. You can leave these on for an extended period of time, but I like to take my panty off and change it every 8 hours. So you can wear one during the workday, but when you come home at night, like, you should switch to another pair. This is gonna help with that blood exposure smell and maybe leaking through them. Another great thing about period underwear is that it's pretty breathable, and it's also great for light or backup protection if you're someone who bleeds a lot. Maybe you're trying a menstrual cup or disc for the first time and you can wear a pair of period panties just in case you didn't put it in right or whatever. But if I'm on a heavier day and I want to wear a brief, I'm wearing my Cherry bikini briefs because I don't want to trap moisture or heat that can contribute to the odor. Cotton absorbs moisture and allows airflow, which prevents odor and discomfort. So in general, even when I'm not on my period, these help me stay fresh throughout the day. But when I'm wearing a pad, I like these for one specific reason, other than the fact that they're super fucking comfortable. The gusset, aka the coochie part, is actually wide enough to fit a pad comfortably. I will show you how to use a pad. This is a really, really thick overnight pad. Feels like a diaper, honestly. I put it right on the gusset. Do you see how perfectly it fits into there? I am always wearing pads with underwear that is too tiny, and then the pad just ends up like sticking to my thigh and like rolling over. Because these panties are wide enough to fit your pad, the pad's gonna stay in place. And of course it works for not only like panty liners, but also pads with wings. These actually have wings, so I'll show you how those wrap around in the most perfect way it should. Highly recommend. Discount for these are in my description. I love these for when I'm on my period and just for every day. Those are the best underwear for your period. If you're using a tampon or menstrual cup, definitely wear cotton underwear. Again, I said for that breathability. You want to avoid synthetic underwear in general, but especially on your period, because that can trap the heat, which leads to odor and moisture and all of the stuff we're trying to avoid. The concept of this video. Hey, didn't mean to jump scare. I just forgot to mention this in my original video. Another thing I like to do to help with the odor, to help with the breathability, other than wear cotton underwear, is pre-bleed. Oh my god, this is gonna divide so many people. Pre-bleed on a towel at night. I probably do this toward the end of my cycle when things are lighter, and if you move a lot in your sleep, this probably won't work for you. However, for me, I stay in one position the entire night. I sleep like a little baby. I just lay down a towel on my bed and I let that coochie breathe overnight. You can also do this if you work from home layer up a towel on your chair as you work, as you're just laying watching TV. Layer up the towels if you're worried about staining something. If you stain it, I will put in the description how to get a period blood stain out of any fabric. But that is a tip that I've never heard anyone else suggest. Pre-bleed on a towel whenever you can, just to let things come out naturally as they're supposed to and give that coochie some air. Okay, she's got to breathe. Okay, back to the video. Now, as I said, if you're navigating into pads, maybe you leaked through your tampon, you're using period underwear, whatever it is, and things are getting messy throughout the day, that is when a good old feminine wipe comes handy. Now, I want to add some warning. Not all wipes are gonna be good to use down there. One time I used just a regular baby wipe on my vulva and it burned and led to such discomfort. I ended up developing like a little bit of vaginitis from it. So are wipes safe down there? Depending on the wipe you use. These are the best feminine wipes for your period. The Sweet Spot Labs, this is the same brand of that body wash I recommended, so they are fabulous. I love these. These ones are the unscented ones. I just use them in general for all my holes down there. You know, I have to look at pricing for these ones. I do have a discount if you want for Sweet Spot Labs products. I'm not sure the price difference on these two, but another one I really love is water wipes. I like these because these I use all over my body. I use it to take off my makeup. I use it after I take a big old shit, and I use them on my vulva and my V-hole. You may be wondering why are you using the same brand of baby wipe for your face and your coochie? That is because I really like these wipes because they're made of 99.9% water. So there's really nothing bad in here that will irritate you. These are like the cleanest baby wipes on the market. So if you're looking for something you can use to take your makeup off and clean your coochie, we have a 2-in-1. I wish I had a discount for this, but I don't. If you're on the go and you need to clean up, this is where I really recommend the Sweet Spot Labs. I don't have like a little to-go version of these. I don't know if they make them, but they should. I'll look up if they do. But for feminine hygiene on the go, I like the Sweet Spot Labs wipes because they come in a little package like this. I just pop it in my purse. I have these on me at all times. And these ones are vanilla scented. So you know how I said that you should stay away from scented products because it's gonna disrupt, blah, 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 blah. I haven't had any problems with these in general. Also have a vanilla scented version of the body wash. I would say to be safe, always unscented, but if you can't help it and you wanna use a scented product, this is the only scented product I stand behind. So these ones are vanilla scented. It smells like a freaking cupcake. Another thing that's gonna help a lot with your odor during your period is staying hydrated and eating clean. I know you want to indulge those cravings. You want to eat an entire bag of Lay's potato chips and 4 chocolate bars. I know. But we know this. I've talked about this in my video about smells down there. Eating clean, staying hydrated is the #1 thing that makes your coochie smell best. It also will help reduce bloating and flush out any toxins. And a hydrated bitch is a happy bitch. Overly salty or sugary foods can affect your body's scent. So that's a practice you're gonna wanna implement into your daily life for long-term natural benefits of reducing odor down there. Because your diet does affect period odor. If you've watched other videos or you've heard people say just use a boric acid suppository during your period that will help with any odor, I would like to advise you on this. I am not a doctor. Neither are most of those people who are telling you to do this. I love boric acid suppositories. I really do. But there is a time and place for them. If you have BV or yeast and you were like me and you got them around your period, the boric acid suppositories will help rebalance your pH. It is one of the things that helped me stop my horrible cycle of these two things affecting the chaos in my coochie. But boric acid suppositories are not for casual use. Don't just pop one in on your period because you don't want to smell. It's not safe during pregnancy, but I guess if you're on your period, you're probably not pregnant anyway. And just talk to your gynecologist first, okay? Only consider using boric acid suppositories on your period if you have a reoccurring infection. Y'all ever get to the barbecue sauce phase of your cycle? That's what I call when it's like toward the end of your cycle and your discharge is mixing with your period blood, and now it's just like a little bit of period blood, and so what's coming out is just kind of lightish brown. Sometimes that can smell nasty, and that is just because, as I said, the hormonal changes, mixing of the blood and the discharge. If you're experiencing that particularly nasty smell, especially during your barbecue sauce phase, wait and see if it balances out after you've completely stopped stopped bleeding. I noticed sometimes it is quite nasty, but then once I stop bleeding, the smell just clears out. If you're noticing the smell is still there, that's when a boric acid suppository could help. As I said, you should talk to your gyno before just using that willy-nilly, because it could also be a sign of something different other than just like a temporary odor change. So you don't want to start treating the problem before you know what the problem is, you know? So should you use boric acid on your period? Depends. Boric acid for period odor does work, but don't use that as your cure-all. I really want to emphasize that your vulva is not supposed to smell like a candle. I know we're so used to wanting to smell like peaches and cream and pineapple and vanilla blossom, but at the end of the day, it is your coochie and you are on your period. A mild scent is totally normal. It is a functioning body part, not a cupcake. And so feeling off or not feeling fresh doesn't mean you're dirty or broken. Having your period doesn't make you dirty. I know in a lot of cultures and a lot of religions, you can feel really othered when you have your period. Don't feel like you're gross. Period smell, it's normal. So don't try and cover up the smell. Just regularly implement these tips and tricks and habits so that things naturally smell fine. Because that's the thing. I don't think it should smell good. It should just smell fine. It should smell like a body part. These products are just going to help you smell like a normal coochie, which really doesn't have much of a scent. Don't expect to use these products and smell like a pineapple. Anyway, these are like baseline tips and tricks, okay? And I don't see a lot of people talking about these. I see a lot of people pushing scented washes and douches and yoni oils that you don't need, that are just going to be masking your scent instead of naturally trying to make yourself smell better over time. I know we're hard on ourselves, we're hard on our bodies. Try and give yourself love, especially on your period. I know she doesn't feel great. I know she actually feels pretty horrible, but give yourself grace that your body is doing its thing. Every single month it's doing its thing, and allow yourself some compassion. Remind yourself that your body is normal. Remind yourself that it's okay to have a mild scent down there, and just maintaining cleanliness and living a holistic, healthy life is kind of the solution. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your favorite menstrual hygiene hacks in the comments if you have any, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more coochie related content. And again, don't forget to check out Cherry for double donations for Menstrual Hygiene Day. Buy yourself a comfy pair of undies that you can wear that will fit your pad, or that you can wear every other day because they're so breathable and soft and comfy. And then not one, but 2 people in need will get some products and undies that they very, very much need. Thank you.